Welcome back to Tahr Talks. And today, we have a very special guest with us. Today's guest has built a career in environments where the margin for error is almost zero. Captain Gopichand Thotakura is a pilot who has flown thousands of high stakes medical evacuation missions, worked across experimental aircraft, and now represents a new generation of astronauts through Blue Origin. His journey doesn't follow a straight line, and that's exactly what makes this episode interesting. Today, we're not just talking about space, but about decision making risk and what it really takes to operate at that level. Captain Gopichand Thotakura, welcome to Tahr Talks.
Thank you.
So, Captain, have you ever had a moment in flying an airplane where you felt loss of control, where you could not, where you felt a loss of control, and what exactly did you do on that situation?
So, like we were discussing earlier, many a times, more than you cannot be in control of your environment. It's not just in the aircraft, it's here, it's in your car, it's walking from here back to your hostel, it's anywhere, right? And at that moment, one of the most key factors which everybody really talks about is to be calm, is to be composed, and is to really try to understand the situation first rather than impulsively react, because irrational, impulsive motions is not going to get you good solutions.
Right. It's a spur of the moment, the spur of the moment solutions, and if you're like you said earlier, like if you're composed and you're controlled, you're able to, think soundly and be confident in such high stakes or high pressure situations. Then of course you'll be able to handle problems 1,000 times better. And what's important is that you respond to such situations in the right way, and of course you gotta be in sound mind. And of course, like I just said, in medical evacuation missions, the pressure is always high. And doing it as a job must definitely be challenging. I mean, yeah. Do you ever get used to the repeated high-stakes missions? I mean, you've flown over 2,000 medevac missions.
I don't know who's counting those missions, but yes, there was a few that we did do, and we did medevacs all over the world, right? It's not just within our nation, motherland, but the intent and the goal was to basically go when duty calls, and it did, and it called more than you would want it to, right?
Yeah.
And yes, it's a very high-paced, high-risk job, but it's just like anything else. For me, I am passionate to fly. I'm passionate to do medical flights. You're passionate to do a podcast. You're passionate to do, athletics, activities, running. And it's the same. You have a high stake in jumping across a hurdle or finishing the 100-meter race, twisting your ankle. I have a high stake in an aircraft, getting to the ground on time with the patient on board from A to B. And that could be two different countries. But it's really quantitative on whose stakes are really higher or not. I think they're all equal. For you, that race is do or die. For me, that flight is do or die, right? So it's just a math equation.
You're just equating the two.
Exactly.
I mean, in life, there are always, you may go down many different paths, and whatever path you're on, it's more or less the same, unless when it comes down to boiling things down to one solid perspective. Whether you're, like you put it, whether you're running athletics or whether you're flying medevac missions or you're a CEO in a big business, the kind of decision that you may be taking is different. But the kind of outlook that you have, the kind of mentality that you bring to all these three things, more or less the same. So maintaining that mindset and maintaining that mentality throughout whatever initiative or endeavor that you may be doing is very important. So, and when it comes to maintaining such perspectives and learning about things in, for example, aerospace, I want to take the example of aerospace. And an engineer who's, I want to take the example of two engineers, okay? One engineer has a perfect academic record, is like almost, like they're on top of their academics, their theory is like almost perfect, and so that's engineer number one. And now you have engineer number two, who is not very academic, but he has deep hands-on knowledge and is able to understand systems as soon as he sees them. He's able to build things really easily, and his practical knowledge, his practical ability is very good. So now between these two engineers, what is one thing that sets them both apart?
So, that's a very different approach to pinpoint on an engineer, right? Let me ask you the same question in a different way. If you have two doctors, one's a physician, the other one's a surgeon. The physician is more, I meant psychiatrist, not physician. Psychiatrist it could be a child psychiatrist, it could be a adult psychiatrist. It's more of a mental counselor, it's more of a emotional advice counselor. There's no physical, in interaction, whether if it's with the body or it's not, right? The surgeon, on the other hand, has zero emotional connect. Doesn't even talk to you, right?
Yeah.
You're actually in the operation room, sedated, and you're probably never going to meet him in your life. But he performs something on you which is far more, in your perspective, advanced than that who would talk to you face to face like you and I are having a conversation, right?
Yeah.
But if you weren't the person in the operating room on the theater and you were somebody who needed psychological advice, you don't care if the guy is a surgeon, right?
Yeah.
You want the guy who is going to talk to you face to face.
Yeah, who's actually able to understand you.
Exactly, and who's going to give you their expert advice. When you speak about engineer 1 or engineer 2, they're two different people, but they're executing the same job, right?
Yeah.
They have different approaches, but they get the work done. If you start from A to B, you can either do that and get to B, or you can go straight down and get to B. But you're still getting to B, right?
Yeah.
And that's the impact. I personally don't believe that engineer 1 or engineer 2 is better or for the worse. I think that a different approach to the way they want to get to the end goal is about the best solution you can accomplish in any situation. If you feel that I absolutely hate reading, Gopi, I don't like reading, but I want to become a pilot. I'm just saying, right? Take an example, right? So what's going to happen is, okay, fine, you don't have to go through the books, you don't have to go, I'm going to throw you in a plane, let's go you and I right now, I'm going to take off and I'm going to give you the controls and let's see how you do, right? You said you're a hands-on guy, you don't want to read, you don't want to see any books, you don't want any theory, so throw you in a plane, let's get up there and I'll just give you the controls and then you see. And if you don't panic, if you're not like, what is this? If you're not like, oh my God, why am I up here? I don't know what to do. Then yes, you have established a ground for yourself to go to the next level. The same thing, if you had the situation where like, dude, I absolutely cannot get in a plane, I want to read, I want to know it all. So you start on a different path. But we both are meeting somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is what is important for everybody to understand is, no matter which way you choose, as long as you are clear that is what you want to do, I think it really will make the difference. But it's important for you to realize that. I can't tell you that, your teachers can't tell you that, a peer or a friend or a foe can't come and tell you that. It's you who has to really innately understand, this is the way I want to do it, and this is really what I want to do. It doesn't really matter how you get to it, right? So.
Right, yeah, it's all about the end goal, and whether you're getting to that end goal, like you said, getting to point B, that's all that matters. And whether you do it in some other way or do it in another way, like you said, doesn't really matter. As long as you're getting the job done, as long as you are doing what really matters and achieving what you set out to do. That's what really does. That's what really matters. And I understand that you have you went to space with Blue Origin once, right?
Did. That's something, yes, we did.
Yes, and so there are a lot of concerns with commercial space tourism as well, and there are a lot of debates surrounding it, and whether it's it's becoming more exclusive and more elitist, or whether it could be something more available to the public, more accessible to the public in the future. So right now, at the moment, we're not seeing too many run-of-the-mill people who can say, yeah, I want to go to space tomorrow, or space, like I want to visit space once in my life, like that type, like for vacation. Instead, what we're seeing at the moment is people who are going to space and they just happen to be very rich people, and they happen to be very wealthy. So, and looking at these trends that we're seeing nowadays, I mean, how fair is the assumption that that space travel,
only
space
the rich?
tourism, it's only for the rich.
Only for the rich.
So it's a time equation is basically what it is, right?
Yeah.
If I told you that if you rewind, how old are you now?
I'm like 18.
Well, let's go back 18 years. Okay, before you were born. Let's go back 20 years when I was in your seat in college, in school. Not everybody had a cell phone, right?
Yeah.
People didn't know what an iPhone was. I did, but not did, right? For you to have to own the iPhone, it was the norm. It was the norm that, oh, I need a cell phone. This Nokia 1100 with this black and white, with the snake game is not just cutting it, right? I need something bigger, better, smarter, and for that you need to upgrade to a Nokia communicator. Or if you want to be the cool kid in school, then you need to have that iPhone 3 that just came out. And that was the norm. But back then, there would be people like how we're talking, saying that, dude, owning an iPhone is just for the rich. But today, I guarantee every one of you have an iPhone.
Yeah.
I guarantee that every one of you, it's now become the norm. It's a part of your day to day. Exactly, right? You can't live without it. You can't sleep without it. You can't do anything without it, really.
Yeah.
Take that into perspective and put it in the question that you just asked me. We are seeing and forefronting evolution of space travel and space exploration like we've never seen in this humanity, in our time and rest, right? If you think about it, 50 years ago, when Apollo missions
Yeah,
happened,
when the space race was going on, that was.
they actually 50 years ago have achieved far more than where we are today to go and do a suborbital flight and do a small peek at the globe and come right back. They went to the moon, they came back, they did multiple orbital missions, they came back 50 plus years ago. At the time it wasn't about the rich. At the time it wasn't about who had the money or who had the buck. It was about people who were passionate to explore and completely focused on that end goal. That I want to go to space and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it through NASA or through whoever, the Soyuz, the cause, what Russians, Chinese, that doesn't matter. But those people have innately followed their passion and their dreams. And similarly, if you think about it, today, there are people, okay, the joyride, let's put this aside for a second. Some rich people are doing it. There are still people who are going to space. They're not paying for it. They're going through the government, they're going through scholarships, they're going through funds, they're going through grants, they're going for the purpose of STEM to explore and to promote what can you do exactly, right? What can you do? What people don't realize is that forget the jewel and the crowns who are going up there for 10 minutes. Think about this for a fact. What do you want to do when you get older? Wiser. That's the question.
Yeah. I want to get into aerospace engineering.
Okay. And what do you want to do?
I want to get into mechanical engineering.
So, I was telling somebody this yesterday. Every single profession today has a place in space. You don't have to be physically there in space, but you can contribute to the factors that make that rocket or that ship or that part or that satellite or that payload go to space. And that's what's important. People have to realize it's not just engineers anymore. Right. Engineers are one side of the. We are all on the back side of the bench now. Every single lawyer, doctor, psychiatrist, physical education teacher, everybody that you can think about has a place in the race for space. Right. We will, in your lifetime, get humans back on the moon. I strongly believe it. In your generation, I do believe that you will see somebody back on the moon. And yes, why the gap for 5 decades? There's where the question comes. The rich and the money and the governments and the spending.
Difference in priorities.
And exactly, right? Is the Indian, unfortunately, India does not have a human manned spaceflight program. The Chinese do, the Russians do. The US does. But why? If we can put Chandrayaan 3, you know Chandrayaan 3?
Yeah.
So Chandrayaan 3 was landed on the south pole of the moon, which no other country has achieved till date, at a 10th of the budget of any NASA mission. If you take that into an equation and you dedicate more funds to make it to make it the priority for this nation to get to outer space, we will be far ahead of where anyone can ever fathom. And that is where we lack our understanding of, oh, there's a guy who has money, he's gone to space for 10 minutes, he's come back. It's so much bigger than that. It's not the astronaut that you see, right? It's all about what happened before he actually went up there. All the people that are involved to make the rocket. All the people on the day that actually put him in that rocket to send him to space. The people that are involved in his recovery to come back onto the Earth.
Yeah.
Everybody that is working in background that you'll never hear or see or ever, have any minuscule credit. There are hundreds of people that go behind the scenes, right?
There are hundreds of people behind it. It's all about that dedication,
Exactly.
drive, and
that's
passion.
what's very, very important. So.
It's all about that, again, pursuit of knowledge. And yeah, I mean, of course, alongside theoretical knowledge, and of course, a lot of the behind-the-scenes work is theoretical knowledge, doing those calculations, those math calculations, using calculus to estimate the trajectories and all that. So, alongside that and a strong academic background, there must be a weighty physiological aspect to the astronaut selection process. How exactly do they get selected? I mean, what does the astronaut selection process actually prioritize?
So, that's actually, if you asked me this question 10 years ago, the answer would be very different, right? Today we have over 5 companies that I can think of off the top of my head who have the capability to send the 3 of us in a rocket to space. Now the equation is just the math of how much money they're willing to give, right? Now, if you put those 5 companies aside, and you asked me this question 10 years ago, I would say like the astronaut selection process was pretty brutal. It really was. Did you know that when Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin went to the moon, there was a 3rd person who was supposed to go? Nobody knows, right? Everybody only knows the first or the second if you're lucky, right? Or it's always the first. Who cares about a second?
Yeah. Everybody knows about Neil Armstrong. It's very hard to find a person who already knows about Buzz Aldrin.
Exactly. And there's another 3rd, right? Who's there on that ship who never even got out. So, but the whole intent behind it is that really to understand what it actually takes, right? So, sorry, what was the question?
The question was what exactly does this?
Oh, the selection process.
Yeah.
I would say about 10 odd years ago, you had to be a US citizen, you had to be a Russian citizen, you had to have maths, physics to a very extensive study of the 2 subjects. You have to be a quick decision maker. You have to be psychologically stable at a point, and 50 other different things. Physically fit, there's that, age criteria, demographic, blah blah blah, all this stuff. Today, I think all of that is erased. I think what you are only required is to be psychologically sane, number 1, and number 2, somewhat fit.
Okay.
Because the rest of it is either done with the knowledge that you have, or done by AI or the computers, who basically don't need your help. They are there to execute. You're there to just go along for the ride.
Right. I mean, I think 50 years ago, it's actually a fun fact. Today on your iPhones, you let's take that the kind of computing power that you hold in your iPhone and what they had 50 years ago and what they used to send to the moon. What they used to send to the moon was only 10% of what we hold in our hands today. And the kind of and this puts into perspective the kind of extent of calculations that they had to do back then. I mean, back then they had computers, but they're not the computers you think of, like the traditional computers nowadays where you have a keyboard and mouse. They were actual people. And they made a movie about it as well. The name's not coming to me, but they did make a movie about it. And these computers are real, actual people who sat and did the calculations for everything. So of course, 50 years ago, it would be 100 times more strenuous process than it is today. And which is why the selection criteria may not be as rigorous as it might have been before. What might have been very hard to be, what it might have been before to become an astronaut would have been a lot harder 50 years ago than it is today, for sure. And now looking at your career, you're an astronaut. That is, I would say it's a
very hard career to get to.
Not only a very hard career, I'd say it's a career that a lot of people want to get into. It's something that, if you if you ask a class of kids, what do you want to be?
At
when you
least
grow up?"
50% will say, I want to be an astronaut.
Exactly. And but as you progress in life, a lot of us struggle to find a niche, and every step in a different direction may feel like a wrong decision. So, was there any highlight of your journey that may have felt like a detour from your end goal, or did it feel like you were straying in the wrong direction? But of course, maybe later you may have saw it as something essential to your journey.
So, let me actually go back to the first part of the question. Is I don't think any career is difficult. Specifically, whether if it is to go to space or whether if it is to run a podcast. Right? I think it's just in your head. If you truly are passionate about something, I think that you're already halfway there, if not more. But if you always keep a barrier between you and that career, or like, oh dude, he went and did it. Can I do it? She went and did it. Is it possible? Yeah, we're already limiting ourselves.
Yeah, instead of thinking, yeah, dude, that's way too hard, I can't do that. Never.
No, it's not about being way too
exactly,
hard.
yeah,
I tell you,
can't be saying stuff like that. That doesn't.
your worst, and this is not the phrase I like using, but your worst enemy is yourself.
Right.
If you can push, you're already halfway there. I don't think that there was a specific moment in my career where I felt like it changed the path or the course. Definitely did not see it coming for this NS-25 mission, but it was always in the back of my mind, right? You say 50% of the class anywhere today will tell you that they want to be astronauts. But guess what? 50% of that class who don't want to be astronauts also know exactly what they want to do. And I guarantee you the other 50% is not one type of career, right? It's all out and mixed. So that gives you more of a perspective of you're gonna walk out in this beautiful place in Uti and you're gonna look up and then you'll be like, dude, I wish I was there. I wish I was a part of something that is there. But what you're not realizing is it's in your question. It's 50% of that class is more solid than the other 50% of the class and more, right?
Yeah.
It's because they know exactly what they want to do. The other 50 are piggybacking amongst themselves. Oh, you want to be pilot? I'll also be pilot. You want to be astronaut? I'll also be astronaut. You want to be doctor? I'll also be doctor. And unanimously, if you have so many people going behind one shared vision, it's really not your vision.
Yeah.
If I would rather be one of the other 50 and be a firefighter or be a policeman or be something that you passionately want to do, then, I mean, I'm not saying you have to do that, but whatever you want to do, but but rather than go with the herd, right? You don't have to, I told somebody this the other day, when was the last time you did something for the first time?
Today.
So
Actually, it is his first time doing
a podcast.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was trying to say, right? If you can kind of think about that in perspective on everything that we talked about today, when was the last time you did something for the first time and you looked back and you're like, I actually liked that. It wasn't something governed by external forces, by the environment around me, which is your school, by your faculty, professors, which is instilled and pounded on you. It's something you just wanted to do.
Exactly.
Right?
It's a passion that
it's not just, it doesn't have to be a passion, right? It could just be spur of the moment, be like, what did you tell me today? So you want to take the elevator, let's just take the long route and walk up the slope. You probably wouldn't have done it another day, right? But that's the intent. It's for you to want to find and be happy. It's the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
Have you seen that movie?
Of course I've seen that movie.
It's an amazing movie, right? and that tells you that it's okay to chart a path when everything is going wrong. So to answer your question, I don't think that there was one A moment or a B moment which I said that, you know what, this turn led me here, but it was a collection of what I call successful failures to get to where you eventually end up, right? And I think that's to do with anything that you do in life, whether it's in school, whether it's you leave 12th or you're in 11th now, you leave 11th and 12th now, you're like, I can't wait, you said, to get out of school. It's like you have good friends here and everything, and you're like, I can't wait to get out of school. You're going to go out of school and you're going to look back and you're going to say like, I had a timetable, I had teachers, I had my clothes pressed for me, I had no bills, I had nothing to do, I've been happy. And you get to college for 4 years.
Yeah.
After 4 years of college, you just want to get through college. Like, I just want to finish college and I want to move on. Like, when do I get out of college? When do I get a job? But then the day you leave college, you will miss college more than anything else in the world.
Right.
And if you can take that and you realize it on today, how can I make today happy? And you don't need to worry about what is the path, what is the success rate, what is the difficulty to get to, whatever your path is. So,
Yeah.
So when you're going to space, like obviously it's a very different, environment than from
Not
Earth.
really.
Of course. I would hope so.
So when you were preparing to go, or when you reached there, how different was it? And how did you learn, or did you just adapt on the spot?
No, you actually do training, right? So you do. So NS-25 was obviously a very short mission, but let's take into perspective. If you go to the ISS, you would train for about 6 months. That could be inaccurate, but pretty close probably, right? 6 to 8 months you probably train, and you would train for 6 to 8 months in a controlled environment with people who either have been there or who know very accurately what happens there. It's like you sit in a classroom. Why would you listen to your teacher? Because either he's been in your shoes or he's pretty good at what he's doing. That's why he's there, right? It's the same thing. If you are going to space, someone's going to train you. And that training is going to be vital to everything that you're going to experience. It's like, this is your first podcast you just mentioned, but you've probably seen a bunch of podcasts with him.
Yeah.
So you have an idea of what it feels like. It's exactly the same thing with going to space. You have an idea of what it feels like. But guess what? You never knew that the camera would stop after 4 seconds when we started the first time. So that is an unexpected situation in any environment. Likewise, there will be unexpected situations in space. And you just have to be physically and more mentally prepared to accept that yes, it will happen.
So
when it does, exactly. And when it does happen, it's okay. It's okay if it happens, because you are either trained to do it or you're trained to figure out how to get it done. And I think that's what's important. So
Yeah, as long as you have that framework in mind,
Exactly.
that how do I approach problems? It's not about preparing yourself for specific problems. It's not a curriculum. Yeah, this
It's really
problem's
not
gonna
a
come up.
curriculum,
This
yeah.
is gonna come up. It's about solving things on the spot. Again, you'll go back to what we said right at the beginning of this conversation. How we spoke about how learning how to approach problems and maintaining a sound mind, especially when the stakes are so high, when you're in high pressure situations. Maintaining a sound mind and knowing how to figure out problems and solve them efficiently is very important. And again, I'll touch upon this topic. We were just talking about it, and how a lot of people want to become an astronaut. And with those a lot of people, there are, of course, out of those 50% of people, maybe only say 10% would actually stay true to themselves and end up saying by the time they're in like 11th or 12th grade, yeah, I still want to be an astronaut. Now, okay, say they want to become an astronaut. Of course, they'll be really ambitious at that point. So what is the first illusion that students need to let go of? And especially if they want to pursue a path in aerospace.
I definitely don't think that you have to go to NASA or be a US citizen to be an astronaut. That's the past. We're far ahead of this generation to think that you have to go to the US or you have to be a part of NASA to pursue a career in space. You can do it right here in India. You can do it right here, whether if it's through ISRO or not, but you can do it right here in India, and I think that's what's paramount to think about. So that's the one thing that I would completely shut down anybody who thinks that, oh my God, I need to go to the US to be an astronaut. That's absolutely today.
Yeah. And especially if you look around India, look at where we are in space exploration. You just said we're making a lot of significant steps now with the Chandrayaan missions and whatever Israel's doing. And like you said, don't always need to do it with Israel. And there will be, especially in the next couple of decades, there'll be tens of hundreds of
Absolutely.
new
Already
space
there.
exploration companies.
Already there's 350 different startups on just space.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're all sending people to space, but they're contributing to the race.
Yeah,
in
they're
space.
contributing to that space
350
race.
startups, and this is not some mom and pop shop. This is some serious startups
Serious
in
stuff,
India, who have been funded through, the Startup India Foundation, Startup India initiative by the Prime Minister. And I think that it's very, very important that people realize that this is happening today. It's not tomorrow for you. It's happening today. So if you are someone who's passionate about really pursuing something in space exploration, then you have to start now. Otherwise, you're going to miss the curve. I think it's about the best time to do it. So.
Right.
So if I am about to, I'm really ambitious to work in aerospace, what is one very common misconception that students face when they're, on the journey to aerospace?
Can I get the money? Can I get the funding? That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one. Usually, that's what I feel. I have seen that to be the one that holds people back. Is will my idea fly? Number one, and number two, will I get the
Finance.
the backing to make it come to paper? And I think that in today's day and age, just like how people didn't realize, forget 10 years, 5 years, 3 years ago, if I would have told you AI, you'd be like, dude, what are you smoking? like right? But now, I will come and tell you, like, okay, you will ask me, like, here's the money, let's go invest in AI, right? And that's exactly what we're looking at. In the next decade or so, space exploration will take over AI or anything else that it can bring in to the careers of people around the world. And I think that's very, very important. And that will completely disavow the myth of, will my vision fly? Will I get the funding? Can I do it? This is a male-dominated society. All that is done. All that is in the past. We are so much ahead of everything.
Exactly. There's nothing like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's something that people should definitely not take to hold them back is, can I do it or not? Don't doubt yourself. Do it and learn from it and then move on is what I genuinely recommend.
Yeah. And especially, like you said, I mean, just like we had this whole AI boom, I'm sure in the past year or two, we've seen a lot of new AI startups, a lot of new AI companies that have, taken off because of this whole initiative. I mean, I don't see a lot of AI startups struggling to get funding. And just like that prediction you just made about how space exploration will become the next big thing after AI in the next couple decades, I don't see anybody who'll be struggling in the next couple decades to get funding for any aerospace projects. And of course, with a lot of aerospace projects, there are a lot of minds behind them. A lot of minds who thought, yeah, dude, I want to do aerospace in the future. I want to make a difference in this industry. And just like yourself, actually. So, and of course, today you can say that you are an astronaut. I'm a very skilled pilot. You are able to say that. So you have achieved.
I don't know if I'd say that.
Okay, fine. I will say that about you. So you are in this position now, and what would you say to your 16-year-old self, having achieved the things that you have achieved?
Ouch. That's one to think about for sure. When I was 16, I was actually in 12th, just like how you are, right? Or 11th, and I had one dream that was to go for aerospace engineering to the best school in the world, and that unfortunately was 8,840 miles away, and it was 4.5 flights away back then to get to Daytona Beach, Florida, to a university called Embry-Riddle.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Right? And they are the Harvard of the sky, and they are what govern what it is to be in space, aviation, aerospace, commercial space operations, air traffic control, unmanned systems, you name it. In that industry, so they are celebrating their centennial anniversary this year actually. That's 100 years of flight, and that's a pretty penny, right?
Yeah.
So 1903, the first flight happened, and we're less than 125 years, and this university is celebrating a centennial anniversary is remarkable. It really is. And I just wanted to go, and for whatever reason, I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know what was going to come out of it. I had zero knowledge, like -1 knowledge. I said, I just want to go there. How will you get there? We'll figure it out. And that was my 16-year-old self, just having a passion for flight. It's just to fly, nothing else. No strings attached. It's just to fly. And back then, there was a lot of Indian, what's the right word? The mindset in India was, what the hell are you going to go to the US and fly and become a, what did they call it? They said it's a glorified bus driver.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was a pilot, right? We were glorified bus drivers back then. There was no Indigo back then. I'm saying, right? All this started coming up, and when you grow up in a family business oriented setup, look at you and be like, dude, what are you doing? That's exactly what I did. It's exactly what they did. But all you need is that one push, that one person, that one constant who will be there. That could be a friend, that could be a pro, that could be some random stranger on the road. As long as you can listen and give your ear that, you know what, that's all I needed. And that's exactly what my 16-year self was.
Exactly. As long as you're listening to the right things. That's
And just be driven on something that you truly want to do. Don't do it because it looks cool, or don't do it because you think that you have to do it to be accepted in society. I think that's the biggest myth. If you can completely forget that, like to a cellular level, I think that you as 16 or 17 now will really move forward, and that's what I have to give.
Yeah, and I think again I'll touch upon that thing which we said earlier. It's all about the bigger picture. It's all about the bigger picture. It's not about how you get there. It's not about how you get there. Screw how you get there. As long as you get there.
It's true.
That is.
I told you, right? We talked about the curve and we talked about the straight line, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. So
it's the same thing. You're reaching there at the end of the day. So right before we close, I just want to ask you one last question. So, if there's one mindset or principle that students should take away from your journey, what would it be?
just to be free.
Just to be free.
Just to be free, and I'll tell you what that means.
Sounds like a very Matthew McConaughey thing to say.
Well, I didn't know he said it, but it's true, right? It's true. Is to kind of realize that you will eventually get to a point in your life where when you have done everything. You're sitting here right now dreaming of doing everything. We have people in this room. We have people who have already accomplished it all. Who've been there. We look up to them. We learn from them. We trouble them. We do everything, right? But when you get to that point, you look back and you'd be like, what would my mindset be if I went back 20, 30 years? Is to be free. Is to not hold yourself back just because there is society pressure or there is
some norms.
No, there is actually your own obligations that you have contributed to, that you have put yourself in today.
Yeah.
But if you can't be free,
if you can't free yourself from those societal ideals,
I don't think you're
you're
in the
limiting
right
yourself.
space. But
Really.
that's all I have to say.
All right. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming here, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I think everybody, all the students who are going to be watching this podcast, the next couple of days will definitely learn something. I know I will. I'm an aspiring aerospace engineer, so I'll
Good
definitely
luck.
go home with something. Thank you.
Maybe one day he'll build the rocket that you're on.
Yeah, one day.
One day he'll put himself on the rocket. So.
I won't come back. All right. Anyway, this has been Tahr Talks. Thank you so much.